winning. It's on.
Your book, Nice Girls Do, is in paperback now, right?
Indeed. All over the world.
And you're writing a new one?
I'm writing a new book on winning. I'm going to help everybody make a win of their life. And that's the tenet of the
Why is there so much
title.
stress on that in this country, by the way?
Well, see,
Why can't you be second ever?
That's okay too, but say that your milieu is 1,000 square feet, of a little tiny apartment. You can be a winner in that apartment. I don't mean you have to go out and run a marathon or, make the most money in the world, but people are unhappy and they're sad, and it's possible to see more sunshine, to see more flowers, to taste that breakfast and to really relish life, and I teach people how to do that.
Boy, with all the experimentation, why do so many women still fake orgasm?
That's a real
55% in a recent survey, right?
I think it's even higher than that. Most of the women...
How do you find out these things?
Well, as a doctor, they come in and they tell you the truth, and I've been treating women sexually since 1967 with their problems, and this was in Britain when I was at the University of London, and they're so afraid. You're my husband, and I'm so afraid that you'll think you're not a good lover. So in a couple of seconds I say, oh, I'm having an orgasm, and you think, and at that time I'm having an orgasm, say you're rubbing my arm, so you think, I want to pleasure my wife, so whenever I want her to have an orgasm, I'll rub her arm. I give you incorrect information. So for the next 20 years, you're rubbing my arm.
I become a masseur.
Right. I lose three layers of skin on my arm.
That's right, your arm falls off.
I never have an orgasm, but I never share with you that maybe what really excites me is rubbing my elbow. I never share that with you, because I'm afraid I'll hurt your feelings.
These are married people, don't share their...
20, 30 years of marriage, they come in and see Dr. Kassorla, and she has never had an orgasm, but he thinks she has one every time rubbing her shoulder.
Yeah. What's your feelings about sex surrogates for men and women?
Well, I have very strong feelings. Say that you're a surrogate, and I'm a 300-pound lady, and I have a bad breath, BO. What kind of a healthy person are you that you're willing to do this with me? I don't think anybody with self-esteem would become a sexual surrogate. I treat people for sex. Everybody has their clothes on. Not that it's a big part of my practice. Maybe 10% of my practice is with sexual problems. But we talk. I have the husband and the wife, and we talk. I wouldn't dream of having them undress or showing them anything. And who wants to have sex with a surrogate? You don't love the surrogate. How can you have any feelings? How can there be any preciousness or real intimacy? Whereas I can teach the man and the wife, within the sanctity of the marriage and the privacy of their bedrooms, how to become more intimate. And you know what sex is, Mike? It's learning how to hug, learning how to be really close. The way I've seen you and your wife. That kind of sweetness, holding hands when you walk.
I always do that. I don't know why.
It's beautiful.
I still like her a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'll tell a story about Mike. Prince Rainier invited him to something, and Mike didn't go because he had a date with his wife.
It's true.
You may be the only person in the world.
The woman, when I told her, went into shock. Like, you mean...
But see, that's what's important.
Yeah, I did.
And what's important is the love relationship, the family, the children, believing in something, supporting the community, having religious feelings. These are the things that are important.
Now, I can't wait to ask you about something that you believe in, and I want to question this. I understand that you feel that the more educated people are, the less promiscuous, and the more enjoyment they get out of sex. How can that be?
Well, data confirms
How much do you have to know to have sex?
Well, you see, I start the sexual education. I encourage the family at 3 years of age, take the little toddlers to the library before the community, before their peers have said, do you know what Daddy did to Mommy? Do you know that dirty da-da-da? Before that happens, I want the father and mother to take the child to the library and show them the beautiful books on sex, and they unite marriage with sexuality, and it's Daddy and Mommy holding hands, and Mommy has a wedding ring on, and it shows the baby and the development, and it's so beautiful. And the child, by the time he gets in the street, and his, the little 7-year-old says, hey, you know what, and shows him a dirty picture, he says, that isn't the way it is. I saw pictures, when you see this pornography and the genitals, start here and they go across the room, and a little child sees something like that, it's very frightening.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's had the proper education from mommy and daddy, he can't be pushed around with all this misinformation and bizarre mythology from his peers.
Yeah.
He feels stable, and he says, hey, I don't want to look at those pictures. Let's go play ball. Let's play some baseball.
It's not like the terrible pressure I put my mother through. I remember somebody asked me one time where I came from, and I went in and I asked my mother, I said, where did I come from? And she proceeded to tell me about the birds and the bees, and went through this whole long explanation. She said, why, Michael, did you decide to ask me where you came from? I said, the boy next door said he's from Pittsburgh. I want to know. I don't know. It's an old story. Please stay for our next guest, Dr. Irene Kassorla.